I am absolutely and utterly a believer in hard work. I'm a proponent of hard work. I have all this money and all I do is work. My entire life is work. This podcast is work. I'm getting in the car. I'm going to another meeting. Work. I'm going to fuck a bitch. That's work. People who are in charge of the world don't care about anyone but themselves. They don't care about you, whether you're gay or straight. They're not interested. What they're interested in doing is controlling the minds of people and affecting the way people operate in a way which is beneficial to them. I don't want to get too political on this podcast and say what they're really doing because the video will get taken down. Once you get to a certain level of incomes and wealth, everything becomes free. And that's what I'm like now. I don't know the price of anything I eat or buy. If it's not a house or a car, even most supercars, G. I don't even know.
Most recently, there was allegations, right?
Yep.
To do with human trafficking and stuff like that.
Oh, we'll talk about that. For every dollar you make, for every pound you take, you took it from someone else. You don't make money, you take money. You're not the Federal Reserve. You can't create money from thin air. Every single pound in your bank is money you took from someone else.
Who is the real Andrew Tate?
It's a good question.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the CEO Cast, the #1 place for showcasing business and entrepreneurship. Now today, you lot are in for a special episode. I'm with the 4-time kickboxing world champion, the top G, Mr. Producer, the one and only Andrew Tate himself. Come on, let's get a round of applause for that one. Come on, people.
Bro, I'm very happy with that. I'm very happy with that introduction. Thank you very much. Yeah, you included the top G and everything. I'm happy with it.
You got it, bro. You got it. What are you saying? How's your day going?
It's going good, man. I'm breathing, which is a good start. You know, surviving on the breadline, you know, getting the bills paid. I'm doing all right.
Especially in London where, you know, things are hot all the time.
Yeah, like things are hot. Yeah, the world's kind of getting like that for me now. Ever since I conquered TikTok, I can't go anywhere. Yeah. Everywhere I go, it's just, hey, it's top G. And some people love me. Some people hate me. Yeah. You know, and in certain parts of the world, that's not a big deal. In other parts of the world, I'm a bit on edge. So.
How long would you say you've been conquering TikTok for? Like, how long? Because it seems like you kind of spawned out of nowhere, almost.
I put a plan together to conquer TikTok 4 months ago. Yeah. And I've now completed my conquest.
Yeah. So,
bro, done. So I conquer TikTok faster than the nation states conquer countries, bro. Four months, I put a plan together, boom, done. Now it's mine. I own it. Finished. Didn't spend a penny. Didn't spend a single penny on advertisements. I don't even have a TikTok account myself. Yeah. I just put a plan together. We made it happen, and it's done. So.
I want to get to that plan later on because from what I've thought, I haven't asked you directly. I'm going to ask you on this podcast, but it seems like a genius strategy. I think I know what it is.
Yeah, I'd like to say I know what I'm doing, right? Yeah. I must be doing something right. Yeah. Because life seems to be going pretty well. So we put the plan together and then we executed it. And a lot of the time, it's not just the plan; it's the execution and the tenacity behind the execution. Yeah, we were tenacious, like we always are, and we moved with speed and we got it done.
Before we get into it, make sure you subscribe and set the bell notification to all so you never miss a single episode. You know what? This is why I wanted to get you on, because a lot of things that you say, a lot of clips that I see, resonate with me. Like, you see this your typical motivational speech, that shit don't motivate me. I'll be honest. There was a speech I remember about how much you want to succeed if you know, something to do with breathing. This guy called Eric Thomas. That shit, I remember everyone was like, that's so motivational. It didn't hit me. I'd rather have Andrew Tate call me a brokey, call me a wagey. Actually, I'm not wagey, but I'd rather that shit motivates me.
Well, you know what I mean? and that's the thing about the way I talk and the things I say. Some people find it inspirational, and some people are upset by it, and their ego prevents them from learning from it. Yeah. But it's the kind of people who are really genuinely upset by what I say are the kind of people who can't truly learn anything and become successful in life. Yeah. I obviously know what I'm talking about to some degree, right? So if Mike Tyson walks in here and tells you he's going to teach you how to box, and says, you can't fight, you're a pussy. If that upsets you, then you can't learn, right? It's Mike Tyson. Just shut up and listen. Yeah. If someone, Richard and me, comes along and says, Andrew, you don't know shit, you're a dumbass and you're a brokey, I'm going to sit there and go, okay, maybe I am a brokey, Elon. Tell me something, right? I'll listen. But if you're going to sit there and go, don't call me names and not listen, you're never going to get anywhere, right? You don't become the master unless you're very, very good at being a student. And I've always been very, very good at knowing when to shut up. But I've got to a point in my life now where I don't have to shut up ever. So I don't.
How long would you say you were a student for? That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm still a student of life, right? Nobody knows everything. And there's still a lot of people who I respect and will always respect and always am quiet around and treat with absolute respect. But I've been learning for a very, very long time. I've always been very, very observant, trying to pay a lot of attention. And life really doesn't have to be that complicated. When you see somebody that has something you want, you just got to try and work out how they got it. Yeah. And that's the missing part. Most people see people with things they want and they don't do the second half. They don't try and work out how they got that thing. Oh, my man has a Ferrari. Okay. I wish I had a Ferrari. Okay. They don't sit there and go for an hour. How did he get a Ferrari? It doesn't cross that part is the part they don't want to do, right? They just go, oh, here's a Ferrari, wish I had a Ferrari, and they go back to TV.
Yeah.
And that's why they lose.
You know what? Here's where I want to start, because I feel like this point here is probably the point of which your whole life revolves around, right? I want to say, in my opinion. And that's the Matrix.
Yep.
Yeah. I want you to kind of break that down and explain it, because obviously I'm assuming you get the name from the film and the whole, what the film's about.
Yep.
But if you have to relate that to your life and life in general, what exactly is the Matrix?
When I talk about the Matrix, I'm talking about the systems which have been created by society, which are deliberately designed to enslave. In the movie, the Matrix were used for our body heat, but here in this Matrix, we're used for our efforts and our energies. And you're existing inside of a system which is deliberately rigged to make the rich richer and for the poor to stay poor.
Yeah.
And you can sit there and get upset about it. You can sit there and cry about it and say the system needs to change, which is what some people do, socialists, XYZ. But I know that's a waste of time, right? That's futile. The best thing to do is to understand the rules of the game and find a way to win. So yes, the game is rigged. Yes, the rich are always going to get richer. Yes, the poor are always going to struggle. And that's the way the game is set up. So you still need to find the best move on the chessboard. There's no point sitting there saying, I want to play a different game, because that's never going to happen. Because the people with the money are the people who have the control and they have the power. And why would they have the game set up any other way? Why would they change it? Right? It's also the basic of economics. I think a lot of people don't understand the true basics of economics. And the basics of economics state that even giving money to the poor, it ends up back in the hands of the rich. There's no way to stop the rich getting richer. I've already explained this before, but I remember during COVID when they did the stimulus checks and they passed out all this free money to everyone, 1,000. In England, they gave a lot more money, but in America, everyone got like $1,400 each and everyone was happy about it, saying, oh, he's giving money to the poor. Yeah, but what do those poor people spend that money on? Amazon stock tripled because they all went to Amazon. So Jeff Bezos got richer, right? But the fact is that there's less companies than there are people. All those $1,400 checks amongst all those people at the bottom ended up in the hands of a few companies. And the rich got richer, and you can't stop it. Doesn't matter if those people invested their money. Doesn't matter if they bought stocks. Doesn't matter if they bought a crypto. Doesn't matter if they bought a house, whatever. The people who have the assets and have the companies and have the control are always going to end up getting control of the currency, and they're always going to be richer. So that's kind of how it works. And it's getting worse and worse. It's have-nots and have-yachts.
I think it's all about being opportunist, right? Because there's a lot of crypto people here right now. And I remember you was on your video or something. Crypto was at a point where it was like £3,000. So what's that, about $5,000? I want to say something like that. I think more or less everyone here bought some. Yeah. But the whole general public thought it was going to shit. Yeah. And the opportunity there, no one grabbed it.
Yeah, and that's another thing about opportunities, right? Because you have to be positioned to take advantage of opportunities. Yeah. It's like in chess, they say good moves come from good positions. It's true. You can't find a good move from a terrible position, right? If you're sitting at home with no money, it's hard to invest in Bitcoin at $1. Doesn't matter what it goes to, right? You got to be in a good position to take advantage of things. So you've always got to be in a position where you have a good network, you have good information, you have some kind of liquid money, you have the ability to survive without that money, you can take a risk. Like, it's hard to set yourself up. I'm in a position now where I'm in the NBA. I'm an NBA player. I can never go broke again. So it doesn't matter, right? Once you're in the NBA, I can throw $1 million at something. It doesn't matter if it works or not. So for me, it doesn't make a difference. And that's why it's so much easier. They always say the first million is the hardest, and they're completely right. Once you get to a certain point, you can gamble to a degree, right?
Well, doing my research and stuff, you haven't always been a multi-millionaire, I want to say probably near billionaire level or something like that. So when did you clock all of this? When did you find out this side of life?
I always knew that the Matrix existed, and I always knew that the traditional systems and
From what age did you know?
Say again?
From what age did you know?
I always knew.
Okay.
I just knew. Even when I was going to school and they're sitting there going, you're not going to get a good job if you don't get good grades. I was the one sitting there going, you're a liar. Shut up. I just knew the teacher was lying. I knew school was bullshit. I knew college was bullshit. I knew university was a lie. I always knew it was a trick and a con. I didn't truly understand things to the level I understand them now. But I had an intrinsic understanding, and I think everybody does. If you're in a gas station and it's 3 a.m. and a Lambo pulls up and a guy gets out of it, you're thinking criminal, drug dealer, gangster. Yeah. You're not thinking, he has a uni degree. Because you're not going to think that. So when you see money, people don't even associate the money they see with university. But then they go, I want to make money, so I'm going to university. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. So I think everybody knows that the system and the path they lay out for you is not a path that's going to lead to where you want to be. And I didn't know what the other path was, but that intrinsic distrust for the system and that distrust for the things they wanted me to do made me search for other avenues. And then I found them, right? And if you speak to the people who are richest, if you speak to the people this is for everyone at home as well, if you speak to the people who have the most money and go up to them and say, hey, what made you rich? None of them say school. Do any of them say school made me rich? I got an A in GCSE. Like, who gives a shit? It's bullshit, right? So it's all indoctrination. So I knew it was indoctrination, and for that reason, I was always searching. And if you're searching, you're going to find.
Yeah.
So.
No, I always believe that as well. Growing up as well, I always thought that. Here was my theory. Yeah? I've got a theory of business studies. A lot of people thought I was full of shit and stuff, yeah?
Yep.
But I want to kind of hear your opinion towards it.
Yep.
So I've done business studies in GCSE. In my opinion, the whole textbook, everything, the teacher, everything's full of shit.
Yep.
Yeah, literally, I feel like they overcomplicate it and confuse it on purpose because they don't want entrepreneurs, right? And they want people to be stuck in the system. People said I'm full of shit because of that.
No, I know exactly what you're saying, but they teach you things that the problem is as well, it's difficult because the way that humans work and the way that we've evolved as a species is that we don't really learn lessons unless they're learned the hard way.
Yeah.
I believe that unless a lesson has taught the hard way, you're not going to learn it. You can have so many near misses and people won't learn their lesson. Bro, you must know a guy who goes out there, nearly crashes his car, doesn't slow his ass down till he wrecks it.
Yeah.
Like, this is how people are, right? So you need that pain for the lesson to sting enough to really genuinely go inside of your mind. And it's the same with everything. It's the same with driving a car or business. Truthfully, if you want to learn a lesson about business, you're going to have to suffer at some point, right? So we always say that most people are not successful with their first companies, X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. I get that. The truth is there's a lot of people who make a lot of money with their first company, but they just spunk it, act an idiot, and it all blows up in their face. And that's how you get the discipline on your fourth company that when you have $3 million in the bank, you just leave it there. You know, and don't be done with it. So you need to go through some pain. You need to experience some negative things. You need to have to a degree some trauma to really even learn any lessons. So yeah, business studies. You're right. The book. That's not going to teach you anything about business. You need to get out there on the streets. You need to make mistakes. You need to suffer. You need to have the tax man knocking at your door. You got to deal with all that stuff so that you make sure it doesn't happen again. I really think that humans are stupid enough to only learn the hard way. That's kind of how it works.
This episode is brought to you by Crep Chief Notify. In my time in business, I've learned that you need to seize every single opportunity, regardless of how big it is or how small it is. It's all about taking the first step. So for you watchers out there right now who want to become successful, just like Tate himself, this is a perfect way for you to find your first side hustle. Reselling is a great and easy way to start making money alongside your main job. For me personally, alongside of my podcast, I've been using Crep Chief Notify since November last year, and on average I've been making between £700 and £1,500 a month. Their platform literally tells me what to sell, how to acquire it, where to sell it, everything you need to know, so it takes up minimal amount of your time. Like I said, I've been making anywhere between £700 and £1,500 a month. That's only doing a few hours a week. It's quite simple, to be fair. All you got to do is sign up to their service. They show you what are the current hot products to resell, where to get them, and where to sell them. But not only that, but the plus side of it is as well, there's over 50,000 entrepreneurs that use their service, and as we know, your network is your net worth. So if you weren't already signed up, make sure you sign up now. So get started on your first side hustle today using Crep Chief Notify. Sign up using the link in the description below, and you'll be one step closer to the life you've always dreamt of. Like I said, the link is in the description as well, so make sure you sign up right now. And also they've got a YouTube channel, just write in Crep Chief Notify and you can see exactly how the whole platform works. Before we dive more deep into your story, firstly we need like 20,000 likes on this video. Secondly, I want to ask you one last question before we dive deep into your life here. I googled your net worth, right?
Okay. And
it says $30 million. How accurate is that? Because let me just say before this, I see a $5 million Bugatti and I'm like, maybe a guy with $30 million won't spend his money on a $5 million Bugatti. Don't make sense. So he's probably got some...
Yeah, you know what's actually... The saying, if you know what you have, you ain't got much, that is completely true.
Yeah.
I don't have a clue how much money I have. When I was broke, I knew exactly how much money I had. I had 117 pound in the NatWest, and that was it. I'm poor, rent's paid, I ain't got nothing else. When I was broke, I knew exactly how much I had. But now I'm at a point where it gets really difficult to truly measure how much money I have, because you have cash, okay, that's easy. I have some crypto, which is constantly fluctuating. And then you have assets, and the price of the assets is constantly fluctuating. And then I have companies and income streams, which need to be valued. And how do you value them, right? They can be an 8 times multiplier in some circumstances, and others they'll be a 10 times multiplier.
Yeah.
So it's really difficult for me to put a value on it. If you were to say to me, how much money do I have in the bank? But then even then, because I've got to be careful what I say on this podcast. But even then, once you have a healthy respect for money, once you get past a certain amount of money, you don't need it in the bank. Like there's no point in me having 50M liquid in the bank. Why? What am I going to buy? You know, you're like, as long as you have whatever you have in the bank to run around the world with, you have enough. So you try and put that money to use, right? You buy assets, XYZ. So it's really difficult. I mean, I have my online school, which we'll talk about later, Hustlers University.
Yep.
That's already been valued. That was valued at 300 million.
When did you start Hustlers University?
A year ago.
A year ago. Fuck.
Yeah. And that's valued at 300 million.
Yeah.
So, but then I ain't going to sell it. So, but then again, I had a valuation between 280 and 340. So again, how much money do I have? I don't know. I could, if I really wanted to, if I wanted to sit here and say I was worth 500 million, I could prove that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you sold up everything?
If I wanted to, I could come up with 500 million probably.
Yeah, I believe that. That's what I'm saying. A guy like that buy another Bugatti. I'm pretty sure I saw a vlog where you're going to buy another Bugatti.
I've already bought a second one.
Is it?
Yeah.
Which one?
I've put another order down for another Chiron. So it's because that's the only one that's out right now. There's a Roadster coming, supposedly. I've heard rumors of.
Yeah.
I've bought a Kernenzeg as well. I got a Jamera on the way.
Yeah.
I'm talking to Pagani.
I saw that you put it on your story, so I assumed
the new
probably.
Pagani. But you know what? This is another thing about money. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna complain. This is gonna upset all the brokies at home. There's nothing to fucking buy. Like you buy 3 or 4 diamond watches, you buy a couple suits, you buy some cars. What else? What else is there to buy? You end up just spunking it on bottle shows and $10,000 steaks. There's nothing to buy. You can go on holiday and travel, blah blah blah. But if you're actually looking for physical items, things to own and buy, there ain't much to buy. Okay, you can buy property. But property is a funny one for me because I'm very anti-governmental as a person, and I think that property is one of the big tools the Matrix uses to enslave.
To keep you in the system.
Completely, man. You buy a $10 million house in whatever country, you don't want to piss off the government of that country.
Yeah, but saying
because you'll lose that house.
Saying that, I know you bounce everywhere for different locations.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what about buying houses in different locations? You still don't agree with that?
Nah, because then you got headache if you got to look after it. Now it becomes a job, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who talk about passive income, and we'll talk about passive income because I think that's the biggest scam on the planet. The idea of passive income in and of itself is a lie.
You're the first person on the podcast to say that.
bro. Yeah, no, like everyone goes, oh, I want passive income. Well, of course you do. Everyone wants passive income, but tell me how you're going to get it, because only having tenants is not passive income. Ask anybody who has tenants. It's fucking headache, right?
Yeah.
If I have a house XYZ, I got to make sure it's looked after, not broken into, the electricity's on, it's cleaned. I got to get someone on the ground. My assistant's got to deal with it. Now it's just got to be something to deal with. And once I got a bunch of money, what I really wanted more than anything was freedom. There's a bunch of these real high-level crypto guys, you know, like the guys who invented Ethereum and all that, the autistic guys. They don't own anything. And I kind of get that. I'm at the point now where they have a backpack of their possessions, and if they want a house, they rent it. They want a Lambo, they rent it. If I need to go somewhere, rent. I don't own anything. I don't have any hassle. Nothing's in my name. No government can take anything from me. You know, you get to a point of wealth where you kind of start thinking, do I want to have all this crap now I got to deal with? Really, you want peace of mind. And I have enough troubles in my head. I don't need to be worried about my mansion in Santa Monica, which has been broken into. And I don't even go there. Do you know what I mean? It's just long. So that's that. And then also what I was saying earlier about property being a tool to the Matrix. If you buy a $10 or $20 million property under a government, you can't piss that government off. You can't disagree with that government. You can't, if the tax authority of that government says you owe them money, you better fucking pay it. Or you're going to lose a house, right? Yeah. If they say you better take an injection in your arm for the good of society, you better take your vaccine. You better put your mask on. You can't even get a parking ticket, my G. Listen, if I'm in England right now, I don't own any assets in England, right? And I pull up in the DBS. Have you ever seen James Bond look for parking? Me neither. No, fuck no. He parks up and gets out. That's what I do. Park up, boom, get out. I don't look for parking. They put a ticket on the DBS. Let's say I decide not to pay that, right? What are they going to do? I don't have any assets in the UK. They're going to make a bunch of letters, send it to a bailiff. Bailiff's going to drive around the UK. I don't even live here. Boom, it's over, right? If I had a 20 million pound house, eventually it's going to go, the 60 pound becomes 120, 120 becomes 240. Yeah, bailiff comes, $2,000, $3,000, boom, boom, boom. Gets to the point where they're going to take my 20 million pound house off me. Maybe it takes 3 years, but they will, over a parking ticket. So by buying that property, you're now giving you're giving the government a way to hurt you. You're giving them a leverage over you. And I'm at the point of wealth now. I have enough hidden money where I don't want any government to have any leverage over me. I want a government to say, Andrew, we don't like you. And me say, get fucked. Safe. All right, I won't come then. Bye. And that's the problem with property. Property is a tricky one. I know you can make money with it, but you have to understand that they'll use it against you, man. It's a leverage. So,
but let me ask you though. I completely understand the whole concept of coming out of the Matrix and stuff. Yeah. But for what reason? Like, what's the end goal? Like, where do you see your life in terms of in the future?
I'll tell you why. I always knew I wanted to escape the Matrix before I escaped it. And let me tell you why. If COVID has not woke people up in the last 3 years, I don't know what's wrong with you. The government came along, closed your business down by force, forced you to have a medical procedure you didn't want, made you stay in your house and cover your face. because of something with a 99.9% fucking survival rate. They come along and literally broke every single rule. They broke the Geneva Human Rights Convention, every single law that they wrote themselves. They just broke them all under the guise of safety. More people committed suicide from mental health issues, or more people died from missed doctor's appointments for real diseases because of this crap. They came along and did it because they were told to by someone above the government, because the government's not even in charge of anything. And now they've gone back to normal. Everyone thinks they're not going to do it again for some other reason. You think across the next 30 years they're not going to come back with some new shit? Fuck them. Next time, when they come along with this crap, I'm out. I'm bouncing. See ya. When they did this, I went to Sweden. Sweden was open the whole time. Yeah. Sweden never locked down. I was in clubs in Stockholm while everyone else was here locked in their houses clapping for the NHS like a jackass. I was in the nightclub. No masks, no vaccine, no lockdown, nothing. Running around with Swedish chicks. So I just run to freedom, right? But if I had, let's say, a big property within the UK, I can't just say, fuck the UK.
Yeah.
So once you escape the matrix and you try and find a way to get your wealth outside of the system, then you can exist geographically anywhere. And once you can do that, then laws don't really apply to you. If they made a law in the UK I was unhappy with, I'd just leave. And if they made a law in Romania where I live I'm unhappy with, I would just leave. I don't have to be a lawbreaker. I don't have to be a criminal. I'll just go somewhere else, right? So property kind of ties you down, things tie you down. And if you look at the real high levels of wealth, if you look at the billionaires and stuff, they're trying to do the same thing. They don't own anything. They have a share in a company which owns a shell company in the Cayman Islands, which owns this subsidiary of a company in Dubai, which owns a boat that they can use.
Yep.
It's that Aikido. It's the same thing. Get out of the matrix. That's what everyone's trying to do, right?
You know what? I was going to ask you this later on in the podcast, but it seems like a good time to ask you now, yeah? You obviously, I wanted to initially do this podcast in Romania. I thought it'd be sick coming to your house.
Yeah.
You know, but every time you try to arrange something, you're on a jet flying off somewhere else.
Yeah.
Next places everywhere. So I thought, you know, while you're in the UK, we'll do it here. But what's your reason for moving to Romania? And do you own the house in Romania then?
Yeah, so the house in Romania is owned by a subsidiary of a shell company, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
But and I moved to Romania because it felt more free than the UK in certain aspects. And it is. In certain aspects, it's certainly more free. You're always, as an individual, you always have to make a trade-off. And the trade-off is usually between laws and the strength of the government and the judicial system and your safety, right? This is the usual trade-off. So Dubai, which I love and I spend a lot of time in, the judicial system is extremely harsh. The laws are extremely harsh, but it's very, very safe. I'll accept that trade. If you give me a powerful government and a powerful police force, but you give me my safety to wear a $5 million watch, I'll take that all day. But you have countries like America and England where the judicial system and the police are dangerous and they can mess you up at a whim, but they don't even give you your safety. So now I have to be scared of the cops arresting me for no reason and the criminal killing me. So they don't even give me a fair trade-off. So in my view, if I'm going to live in a country with a strong judicial system and a strong legal system, I want them to provide me my safety on the street and the safety of my family. And if they don't do that, I don't see why they're seen as so strong. There's countries in Africa and Southeast Asia, et cetera, where the judicial system's a joke. Then fine. The streets aren't safe. The police ain't doing their job. That all makes sense to me, right? But when the police are going to come along and mess you up for not wearing a mask or catch you for speeding and wreck your life, but they can't even offer you safety, then fuck them. So I decided to move somewhere else. And there are countries in the world where there's a really interesting, delicate balance of a government and a police force which are not strong. And when I'm saying that, I'm not saying I'm breaking the law. I'm not saying it in that way. I'm saying that minor infractions or tiny things I'm not going to be persecuted to the end of earth I would in the UK for a parking ticket.
Yeah, it's mad because they literally say in the UK all the time, people get caught more for speeding and shit like that than people getting caught for stabbings.
100%, right? And this is what I even said. Like in Romania, you don't get parking tickets. You just fucking park. You just dump the car, nobody gives a shit, right? So it's just a different way of life over there. But at the same time, Romania and a few other countries in the world, a lot of them are in Eastern Europe, they have a strong morality because they're very religious countries. So although the police are not seen as a strong police force, they're not like the English police, they're not as well funded, they don't have as fast cars, whatever.
Yeah.
It's actually very safe because people just have a different view of life.
Yeah.
So it all adds up. So I moved there purely for small things, bro. Kept getting parking tickets, kept getting this, that, a letter. When you're living in the UK, bro, you get a new letter through your mailbox every day. Someone wants money for something. You did something wrong. You had some fun. Yeah, you were breathing that day. Give us money. I was just like, fuck, why am I here? Bounce. Yeah. So I just left and I had really good friends in Romania. I went to visit and ended up staying.